Hello and welcome to another one of A Demonic Podcast. This is A Demonic Wizard on Twitch, ADemonicShadow for literally everything else. I am joined with a few friends to actually talk about the Division. It's been out little bit under a week, so we're just gonna go ahead and do the introductions. All their plugins and everything will be in the description below. If you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, Quinn.
Hi.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever. All right, and Alex.
What's up? I'm Alex, and I write comic books. Yay.
And Thrax.
Hey, what's up? I'm Thrax, and I stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/Thrax33.
Once again, his link will be in the description.
Okay.
And so we're just gonna first start off with how are you liking the game just overall?
How is this supposed to work? Do I start saying?
Well, you can go for it.
Anyone say shit?
Pretty much.
I fucking love the game. The storyline is amazing, but it's $50 worth. Not
What?
yet, anyways.
You cut out there a little bit. What was that?
Oh shit. The Division's amazing. Highly addicted. Put almost 60 hours into it already. The storyline's not $60 worth of amazing yet. But then again,
You didn't pay for just the story.
yeah. Well, no, like, yeah, you didn't pay for just the story, but I also got the one with all the past, so it's like way more than $60 for the entire story.
You looking for anything?
Whatever you need, I guess.
The daily missions are...
Nobody's gonna give you a benefit.
I don't understand that type of thing. These aren't my types of games.
I'll be here when you change your mind.
And it can be very boring if you don't have any friends.
I guess so. And how are you liking it, Alex?
So my answer, since you know me personally and have known me since the E3 where they announced this, is gonna be weird, but I'm kind of like meh so far.
And why are you meh?
Because it doesn't, like, this game doesn't have the hook for me. I don't know if it's because it's more of a tactical shooter than, let's say, Destiny, where it's not that high sci-fi, but it doesn't seem to have the hook for me. I feel like I'm just running around hiding behind cover and shooting things. I also don't feel, I don't know, mentally challenged by the enemies. There's just a lot of shooting stuff, and then that's kind of it.
Okay. Well, oh yeah, just for reference, Quinn, you're what level? You're level 30. What's your DZ?
20... how do you check your DZ? Oh, character. 24.
And
I
then
got it all by myself. For the most part, anyways.
and then what is yours level in DZ, Alex?
My DZ is 1 because I haven't gone in there yet, and then my what's it called? My level in the game right now is 16, about to be 17 as we speak.
All right, cause like, and then Thrax is level 30, and I think your DZ is what, 26? No, not 26.
25
20. Okay. Cause that's I guess why I feel why you think your opinion of that right now of not mentally challenged is because pretty much I don't necessarily want to say it's like all the content is necessarily all the challenge. Well, technically all the challenging stuff are at level 30. When you're doing like the challenging daily missions to where the enemies are level 32 while you're level 30, and you really have to coordinate with your team and everything like that. The Dark Zone itself, just even at regardless of what level you are, regardless of what you're doing, that itself as soon as you enter is challenging. Just because at any given time you can probably just die.
And lose shit. Which in turn makes you lose your shit.
That's very true, but this is kind of my problem, and this is why I said I'm meh. The game's been out since Tuesday, and I don't have the urge to grind, right? Like group that is the reason that I bought this on PS4 is all 30,
Mhm.
probably except for me, and I haven't had that desire to just be like, no, I must catch up. You know
Well,
what I'm saying?
I understand that because I'm the same way. Like I had a few friends that get to level 30 too, but I'm necessarily not trying to rush to get to level 30. I mean, if you want to take your time and slowly get to 30 as long as you want, there's no real reason to. It's not like the only thing you're really not really getting access to is like the high-end weapons and high-end gear, but once again that's in-game content. Other than that, you can pretty much do the game at any level at however pace you want to do.
Where the
Yeah,
fuck
basically, I've been playing this as if I'm playing Fallout, like the whole time.
Well, yeah,
That's
just
basically what's been happening.
take your time.
I think I've only grouped like one time.
I'm being shot at.
So
Get shot at.
and
I'm in
then
the middle of fast traveling
Thrax, how are you liking the game?
I'm enjoying the game actually quite much. I really love it. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I've been playing it pretty much almost nonstop
Same
since
here.
release. Obviously, getting sleep and stuff, but yeah, I'm level 30 already. Just after a couple days, I think I have like two-ish days played in game time, whatever. And I really love the different like skills and how everything kind of applies and works together. And it's a whole like, because I'm pretty active, even Destiny player still to this day. And there was the whole talk about, is Division going to be the whole Destiny killer type talk going around? And I think honestly, it's probably not really going to do that because it's such a different type of game where Destiny, you're running in first-person shooter, you one-shot everybody with your Hawk Moon, whatever, and just kind of like it's just really intense, fast-paced. Well, this is more strategic. You can't just run in there; you'll die instantly or whatever. Especially at high levels when you're like 32 and stuff. Enemies. So I would like to change the pace. It's very nice and has a nice set pace from the way I'm playing, and quite enjoy it.
To Thrax's point a little bit, as much as I am kind of enjoying the game thus far, if someone were to message me right now and be like, hey, let's do trials, I would jump off this right now. You see what I mean?
I understand that, but the thing is that one, trials is timed. Trials is not necessarily going to be there forever. So yes, there's kind of a little bit of pressure of like, hey, let's do trials because it's going to go away in X amount of minutes or X amount of hours, X amount of days. While here, there's nothing other than the daily challenges and everything like that. They're here for a day, but at the same time, you're not at that time where you're able to necessarily perform those. So you don't have anything really holding you back time wise to keep playing the Division.
Right,
True,
yeah,
but I think I'm wondering how, like, is this game going to spring some kind of more organized Dark Zone experience at some point? Because some people, as much
do you
as
mean
it's not
more
in here right
organized?
now,
Yeah.
like
Sell for bargain.
the Dark Zone for the most part is like the PvP area in WoW, right? Like you just kind of run around and do what you want to do, and if you want to shoot people, you do, and if you don't. But you can't set up like matches in it. So how long is it going to be before that community pops up?
Are you talking about like
What can I do for you?
like team deathmatch type of things? Like, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, let's say that for now. That's a pretty good example.
I
Like
see.
how the Halo community found a way to like not do normal deathmatch and figured out like, oh, we want Driftball. Like there's gonna be
see.
some weird oddball things that people do with the Dark Zone since that's the only place you can shoot each other. I'm curious as to how long it's gonna be before that pops up.
That I see what you mean. I see what you mean. That's also something I'm hoping that they'll implicate themselves, and add on later if it's if they have like a closed section where you can get Team 1 and Team 2 in a closed part of the game, and they'll do like team deathmatch, team maybe even something like free for all and stuff like that, and you don't drop any loot. You're pretty much just like a standard game you play for gear, and like person in first place might have get a high end gear. And then, the worse you do, the less chances you get of getting better gear or something like that. Because That's something I would totally love them to implicate into the game.
Man, think about if they were able to do that, except for like you get some dude that's talking mad head to you and you can wager your gear. Since
Exactly.
they already have that mechanic built in. Like team deathmatch with wagering like your best gear, that would be the business.
I think that would be pretty cool to do. Like even if it's just one-on-one, like you can just fight one player for your gear, and then I think that's something they should totally implicate, and I think that would be really cool to do. And then on top of that, like if you win, not only do you get the person that they wagered, but you also get like maybe some extra DZ points or something like that on the side.
Hey, careful, that's no toy.
Does that mean we're gonna get a 1v1 me bro emote?
Yes.
That'd be so
1v1
dope.
me, bro.
Come at me, bro. Because that's something in Borderlands you can do, is that if you went up to another player and melee them, you would then challenge. They can melee you back, and then you would challenge to a 1v1. You wouldn't drop any loot or anything like that, but you would get experience. That's something that would be really cool if they add it to the game. So, how far, like, we've all been playing for a little bit. Outside the, an hour after the game release, it was down for about 30, depending on what platform you're on, from anywhere from 30 to, I've even heard an hour and 45 minutes until they were back up.
Yeah.
How's the servers been for you outside that initial release server crash? Quinn? It's Quinn's playing on PC.
Yeah. The initial server down was like 40. And then other than the scheduled maintenance times, I haven't had any issues. The whole queue thing really got me though. I didn't know there was a queue, and then all of a sudden one day it's like your queue position 7,000 something, and then I didn't even get to like position 6,000 and I was in the game. So I don't understand this whole. But other than that, like server. I know Europe had a thing, but that's because they had a power.
So, do you have voice sensitivity on your mic, Quinn?
Oh, yeah, I do.
You should lower it.
Did I keep cutting out?
You should lower it.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do that.
Settings. Go to settings and then go to voice. And then either you can just make it to where any sound goes into your mic, or you can lower it by hitting dragging the little circle bar.
Is that better?
Oh, we have to wait until you talk. But one more time, what was that about the servers?
Okay, I haven't seen any servers issues. There's the whole queue thing, which I don't understand because, like it said, I was queue position 7,000 and I got into the game 6,000s. And the first initial down was only like 40 minutes for me. I checked the stream. It was like almost exactly 40 minutes that I was out of the game when it first came out. And then there's the downtime server maintenance. Like, that's not my issues with the game. Servers I haven't had any issues with it. Knock on wood.
Yeah. My with me, I did get a few, maybe 2 errors where the game wouldn't load, or it would just boot me out, and I would just immediately go back into the game, which was once again 2 or 3 times maybe total. Outside that, server's been fine for me. Only time it's been not so well is sometimes when I'll matchmake with random people, they'll lag, or there'll be a lagging problem. I know I did have one match where we're doing one of the missions, and it was lagging kind of bad, but that was just because of people having bad internet, not necessarily the game itself. How's it been for you, Alex?
That first day was weird because you, again, didn't know you were going to go to that waiting room. Like, that was kind of strange. And then, the happy little mic error as we were all trying to log in at the same time. But since then, I haven't had too much. Occasionally, I will shoot an enemy, and then 5 seconds will go by, and then his health will go down. Which is weird because I'm not playing PvP, right? So other than that, though, it's been fine. I don't like that they do their server maintenance at night, though. That seems to be an issue that they're going to need to do something about.
Well, I think because even with the last maintenance they had, it was supposed to be down for 15 minutes. It was down for like 5 minutes for some people. But how's the servers been for you, Thrax?
Server's been actually pretty good for me. Besides obviously the initial mic thing. I think there was one time where it said I couldn't connect to Ubisoft servers. That only went down for like 5-10 minutes. So not too bad. I also had the same issue with what Alex was saying, where it's like weird lag, where I would shoot an enemy and then a couple seconds later, hold it down, would just pop up and it would die. So it's kind of weird that way, but the overall experience has been pretty good, comparatively speaking to past games coming out that are online and go down for days.
Assassin's Creed.
Exactly. There's a bunch of obviously huge AAA titles that were having a lot of troubles for a few days upon release, so pretty happy with the servers, how they've been with this release.
I've never experienced that lag you guys are talking about, where a bullet, you shoot and 5 seconds later. The only time I had that is once again when I'm playing with laggy players, but outside of that, I've not experienced that, so I don't know if that's like something from just the servers or your personal internet. I'm not entirely sure, but there's just my input. Moving on, how, like, everyone knows how I built my character. I went for purely high skill. The only time that I went off of that is for like now to get some weapon bonuses and stuff like that. But necessarily I went for high skill because the more skill you have, the more damage your, abilities and the more effective they are. So, right now my sticky bomb with the mod BFB, which does more damage and causes them bleed, can do 151,112 because I have such high skill power. But what type of builds were you going for, Quinn, if you are going for one?
Initially I wasn't really going for anything, but I just ended up having to go high DPS and being a healer, like staying back, healing people, shooting people from far away.
Okay. You may want to turn down your sensitivity down a little bit, but how are you liking, like, what build are you going for, Alex?
In PvE thus far, I am all about turrets. Like, nothing else matters to me except turrets. Being able to move people around on the map, I appreciate greatly. So they can't just, more so that I can camp in PvE, basically. So I can throw a turret on one side or throw it up somewhere high, and then that makes the enemies move, and then I'll have to deal with them. However, once I get into kind of running around in the dark zone, I think I'm going to use a marksman rifle and then just go for everything support.
Makes sense. And then Thrax, what build are you going for?
I can try to focus primarily on the deeps. DPS. Just doing the most damage as possible. And I'm usually going to run probably medical, always running my pulse, probably switching off between first aid and station, mostly first aid just because it's quite a modification. And obviously the healing, so I quite liking kind of supportish role. And sitting back with the marksman rifle is kind of like how I'm kind of liking that playstyle for me right now. Might switch it up in the future, but kind of liking, sitting back, sniping, healing teammates, all that good stuff. Okay,
because my main build is just going for skill, but at least with ability wise and everything like that, it kind of depends on the mission and situation. Because I will constantly, because I have a high skill, mine to go off cooldown a lot faster and stuff like that. So there's times where, we'll be stuck, like when we're doing the challenging mission, we'll be stuck and it's like, I really wish to be able to put a turn on, but I don't have a turn. I'll quickly go in there, change it up, equip the turn, and then throw that out there.
Yeah, I was doing that for the challenging too. I was switching up my skills and stuff.
And that's one thing I do like about this game, where if you're, you can quickly switch between your abilities that fast, and then the cooldown rate for it just like a 2 or 3 seconds before you can actually use it. So I really do like that. If you're able to plan ahead and everything, you can do that. And then another thing I do like about the game is that the presets for your abilities, like, you can go there and mod it, but you can also set like ones to be default. So if you ever select it, you don't have to select a modification for it. Well, that's pretty cool. But moving on, what are some things you do like about this game? Either uniquely done, like this game was the first to do, and you're like, oh cool, I thought that was pretty cool, or what do you like about this game versus other games that have the same nature, like Destiny, Warframe, or Diablo, which Diablo is just another loot-based game. Quinn?
Well, see, I don't feel like I can actually speak on this because it's the first ever type of game.
You need to
So
lower
it's all
it.
new to me.
You should just
What?
turn off. You're still cutting out. You should just turn off your sensitivity.
How do I do? Like, it says voice activity. What do you want me to do? Push to talk?
Click the check mark.
What click?
Or the box.
Automatically determine input 70?
Yep.
Okay, unclick it.
Make sure it's checked.
Oh, it was checked.
That is weird. You need a new mic.
Oh
But
my god, this is a brand new mic.
Make
Here,
sure it's checked. And
let me
then-
get closer to it.
Right, like make sure it's checked and just put it all the way to the bottom so we can hear everything.
Everything?
If a bird chirps, if a bird chirps, I want to hear it.
Alright. Okay, so you want me to, like, turn input volume?
Well, no, that's input volume. Makes it harder to hear you. That turns out.
Okay. On 100%?
Sure, fine. Let's do it. Let's go from there.
Because it was on 100%
Hmm.
when you first told me there was issues.
Well, it was just the sensitivity, not actually the mic volume.
No, 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 no. I'm not talking about...
I don't know, because she's still cutting out.
That's weird. But
Cool, I just fell through the map.
Yeah, that. Oh, that's another thing that happened to me once. And then it just made you. Well, once again, this is not necessarily Ubisoft. That's just open world glitches, because happened at Skyrim, Red Dead Redemption, that great game that happened there. Like Grand Theft Auto, when I started playing, I know I fell through the map a few times. That's just open world stuff. But
the game I think of falling through the map most in is Black Flag. That's why I always say Ubisoft. I fell through that boat 50,000 times. It was amazing.
Oh shit.
Anyways, you like about the game, Quinn?
So what I said is I don't. As per your question, I have. I can't really answer a game I've ever played like this. This isn't my normal game style. This isn't my normal game type. You know.
Mm-hmm. But what
so
is?
I can't really.
What? It wasn't necessarily, it doesn't have to be something like what you like about this game versus another. It could just be there's things that you like about this game, that you either then think they weren't going to do well, things you thought like, hey, I really like how the HUD, it shows all your things next to your character instead of like at the top or at the bottom or something like that.
Got to. Hang on, let me go seek cover. I'm dying. All right. I didn't have any expectations for this game. I like most of it. I'm still getting used to it. I don't really have an opinion right now, other than I really like the game, and it's completely different from anything I know.
Okay, understandable.
I originally got this because of, only to find out it's nothing like Siege.
Oh, that's right. You do play Siege a lot. Totally different.
Fuck ton.
But what do you like about the game, Alex?
The word Destiny is going to come out of my mouth a lot.
That's what I figured.
Podcast. So what I like about this at the moment is, as much as I'm playing this game and I feel like the more I do stuff, the more I'm like, Fallout does this better, even though it's different. I really enjoy the fact that they have committed from jump to making this game an RPG. Like, as much as it's a shooter or whatever the case is, there's deep customization options. There's like a deep crafting system. Like, I like all that. Whereas Destiny seems like they were like, well, we want to make this RPG type game, but people know us for Halo, so we have to make like the crazy shooter also. So I'm enjoying that a lot. Like I said, I've only grouped like twice, because every time someone wants to group, I'm like, no, I'm just running around the map doing random stuff as if I was playing Assassin's Creed. Leave me alone.
Understandable.
Whereas like Destiny, if it was like a strike, I was like, I need 3 people. So somebody join me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
And
that's
then,
fun.
what about you, Thrax?
What I'm liking is how like implemented the RPG aspect to the game is like actually working pretty heavily with builds. You know, like when you heavily build into DPS, health, and just skill power, you actually see it, and actually like, you know, you're not just like someone who's really high skill or someone who's really high health. It's like, it's not like you don't see anything like little difference. You actually see a lot of difference.
You'll
So
you'll
someone's high
actually
skill.
notice.
Yeah, you actually notice like, oh, that guy has high skill because like his mind just wrecked me or whatever, and you know, he's casting abilities really quickly and stuff. And like when you're shooting someone and they're barely losing HP, you're like, oh crap, this guy is running really high, you know, stamina build. So you can, I like how the fact that you can actually see it, and like it's actually, you know, it's actually worth something in this game, which is really surprised, not really surprised, but surprised of like how well they implemented that. And I'm still liking again like skills of how quickly you can, you know, switch between like from medical all the way straight into like security or whatever, it's tech. How easily you can be like, all right, so these guys, they really need me to be, you know, tech, so I'm really gonna start throwing mines, turrets, you know, whatever. Or we really need more defense, so I'm gonna put those protection covers on, example. So that's what I'm really liking about it, and how like the perk system, how you know, like you don't have to assign certain perks, you get all the perks as they unlock, so all these bonus things, you know, carry more medkits, you get more experience for getting kills, all that kind of stuff. How all the perks is really healthy for late game and stuff, which is nice. And same with like, again, talents are useful. Some of them are really nice, you know, like the pistol one where you kill people, you get primary ammo, which is really nice. It's running long primary if you're out there for quite a while, so it's kind of like feeling, I'm liking that.
The lack of classes is an excellent choice.
You're not just assigned to like one role and you're stuck with that role. You know, you can easily switch between whatever you need with your group or how you want to play solo. You know, you can easily kind of find the rhythm pretty easily, which I like.
And you don't have to do anything 3 times a week. Destiny.
Yeah.
I understand that. Like, I really do love how between the skills, the build you go for, your skill wise, DPS or health, the perks not the perks, because you'll eventually have all the perks unlocked if you just necessarily do everything, and they're on all by default. But the talents really help you, you know, make your character different and on the situation that's going ahead and what you want to do and what you want to be. Like a support role, you can, you know, use your med packs to heal people. You can also, you know, boost yourself, boost your skills. If you want to go like pure damage, you can make your skills do more damage and stuff like that. So I thought that was really cool. One of the things that I did like that I thought was going to be bad is I thought some of the perks...
Sorry.
Yeah, you may want to turn it off. But some of the, like with the skills and the modifications, I thought some of the modifications would never get used, at least in my experience. There's only probably like 1 or 2 that I've never really used right now, like the shield, like the Blessa shield and the mobile cover. I've not used that at all. I'm more but that's necessarily just because of my role. I'm more of a, you know, DPS or a healer.
Downloading files.
So, but outside that, I've used the scanning. There's only one I haven't used. The sticky bomb, I've used all of them, depending on the situation that's going on there. I've used all the healing ones. Those are all useful. I've used all the turret ones, all the cover ones, and then I mainly only use the ammo crate for the supply station. But I also do love how the signature skills all do have their use, and it's really good when when you're with a squad and each person has like their own one. Like one person may have like the security one has like the damage one, or one has the healing one, or if you're doing challenging, everyone either has healing or defense, because God. But that's what I did like about the game and everything like that. I do like how they're using Destiny as like a platform, like low-key using that as a platform, or okay, what did they do wrong and how did people not like that? How can we change that in our game and make it better? Like, once again, the class and everything like that in Destiny, yes, your character was a different, like a Titan, a Warlock, or a Hunter, but the difference between you and your Hunter, if you guys were like, there's your subclass, which of course made you different, but in between your subclasses and everything like that, you have two Sunslingers. The difference between them are very little, especially when it goes to the skill, the recovery. What was it? The recovery, your HP or your shield, and your agility.
Yeah.
Like those three things barely really even mattered. Like the difference between, if I had a high, like the only time you ever need, or that was different, was when you needed agility just to reach a certain distance. Outside that, there's no real difference between having a really low one or a really high one.
I agree.
Wait, you're saying in this one there is?
No, in Destiny. See, in here,
Destiny.
like in Destiny, they didn't really matter. And Division, like, your skill, HP, or your DPS actually you can see the difference, like Thrax was saying. So that was one of the things that I did like about it. And I had something else I just forgot.
No, that's fine. At launch, they definitely didn't. It's a little different now, right? Like, I can tell if I'm going to survive a trip mine or not now, based on my build.
Mm-hmm.
But in the beginning, it was nothing. It didn't mean anything at all. So much.
Oh yeah.
I just had something else that bring to Destiny. Oh, one of the things I did like about this game, which you probably have not experienced yet, Alex, because you're not high enough, but when it comes to the weapon abilities, for one, I do like in here they actually tell you what they do, and you can actually see it. Like, one of the, like, I've been watching a lot of Destiny videos recently, or not necessarily recently, just overall, where they'll talk about weapon perks and everything like that, and just how beneficial they are, and like what do they exactly do, and what they, like, how you're able to see, okay, I can see my accuracy is getting better. I can see that the game's more, the gun's more stable when I shoot and everything like that. So, like, once again, the accuracy in Destiny honestly doesn't do anything. But one of the things I do like about Division is that your weapon perks and your weapon abilities and everything like that, or they're actually, one, very useful. They're very helpful, and then you can tell when they're in use. You can tell when they're actually activated. So, like, if you had a gun that does 40% more accuracy, you can tell that it's more accurate, even though, like, the only real way to test that is if you're sniping, and if you're sniping while moving versus sniping while you're not moving, because accuracy, once again, is depending on where you're aiming at and how much you're moving. So I can definitely notice that when I'm sniping while moving, non-moving, everything like that. And the other skills that, reset cooldown, or, lower your cooldown, set enemy on fire, stuff like that. So that was one of the things I did like about the game versus, other games.
They did a better job of visually defining the accuracy thing with the little crosshairs. When you move, they actually get whiter and stuff.
Yep.
And then I know for a fact in Destiny, you can't really see that. Like,
Yeah,
I watched a
that's
data
true.
video about that, and he was like, "What? I don't know what's happening here."
Excuse me.
No problem, Quinn. So yeah.
We told you we wanted to hear the birds chirp. Go ahead.
I don't. So
Wait, I have
What-
a comment on that, by the way.
what's coming on?
What you just said
Go for it.
about like aiming and blah 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 blah. That brings me to the whole crafting thing. You don't actually know what you're going to get when you craft it. So what if you're wasting materials on an item that's actually shitty because it says, hey, I'm a good item, and then once you craft it, it's actually fucking shitty.
Oh,
and
wait,
then there's the whole, like... Go ahead.
Are you talking about when you're actually at your crafting station to craft it, or when you're buying the mod for the crafting?
No, when you're at the crafting station crafting.
Well, when you're crafting, there's variables. So like, yes, you can get a really bad crafting, craft a bad weapon, but at the same time you can also get a really good one. So like, let's say if your weapon that you're currently using is in the middle of the weapon you're crafting, there's a chance that it could be better, the same, or a lot worse.
Oh, yeah.
I guess I'm not understanding
right.
what you were meaning.
Okay.
Oh,
well,
RNG.
forget that. But like you're talking about like you can like it's actually like the perks and the stability. What do you mean by like when you're playing, like your gunfire actually looks like it's more stable and more accurate?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
So you know how
Okay.
all these games you have that little stupid crosshair that gets wider while you're moving and stuff? Like, this is way more clearly defined. Like, I know if I'm not going to hit shit with the marksman rifle when I'm running. Because I can see my little cursor got way bigger.
Are you playing on PC or PlayStation, though?
PS4.
On PlayStation.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's the difference of PC versus PlayStation, because, like, I've known, like, he's not moving, and I shot him and missed. That could just be a
That's depending
glitch,
on your accuracy.
obviously.
That your accuracy is when you're aiming at something, the chances of the bullet hitting right where you're aiming. The only real way to see it is with a marksman rifle or something like that. Or so like let's see if you were aiming at like a dot, and if you had a high accuracy, the higher your accuracy is, the better that it's going to hit where you're aiming at. If you have a low accuracy, it's a chance that it's going to be a little bit off. Which you can see, like, if you have once again a marksman rifle or a sniper or anything like that, and if it has a perk but it's 40% more accurate, if you take the perk off and then try to shoot something, when you're not moving, you're more than likely going to hit it. If you move a little bit or move while trying to shoot, a few of your shots are going to miss. Now, if you equip the whole the 50% accuracy and get that weapon bonus, and then you try doing that, you'll be able to see the difference of the 40% accuracy. The only reason why you brought up what you were saying is because in Destiny, the accuracy stat didn't actually mean anything, or it mean very little to the point where it's not noticeable. The stable, you can definitely, once again, you can tell if you ever go up to a wall and then you just shoot it without necessarily aiming, and how it'll slowly recoil up. If you have like a really high stable and then you naturally shoot at the wall and just let it once again shoot without controlling it, it won't go up as fast, or it won't go up as much. And those are the things that the Division does well, where you're able to see that you have a higher stability and everything like that, versus other games where it said you have a high stability but it still kicks like a bitch. And then there's guns with low stability, and then it still kicks like it doesn't kick at all. So that's the things that I was saying. If that makes sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's move on to what are the things you don't like about the game, Quinn?
Oh God, where do I start?
Whoa.
Like, can we comment on glitches?
I would say glitches don't count. Because once again, it's a glitch. If that's something they wanted in the game, and those are all purpose, then that's bad. But outside glitches.
Okay, let's talk about some of the, again, I don't play games like this, but the repetitiveness, especially when those fucking JTF assholes are like, hey, I'm too lazy to walk 5 feet to grab my case, so why don't you go grab it and then walk like a fucking turtle carrying that little bitch? I mean, these guys are fucking soldiers. They could run with that case and shoot. Why the fuck do they have to walk slowly? I understand that's, supposed to make it more difficult, but it's just aggravating and annoying. And then you get the where you have to protect supply drops, and they'll have like the big ones that are spaced out far, and like instantaneously bad guys will be on the next drop, and you have to get there ASAP. And then you have the ones that are like right next to each other, and there's like a 5-second lull in between protecting the different supply drops. That could be better, or make more sense. And like, it doesn't depend on like your level or where you are at the game. It just, the different missions don't.
So you're just necessarily liking either you're not liking the way the missions are now, or just the way they're set up.
It's just the same shit over and over, and it just doesn't. Some of the way they put it out doesn't make sense, and is just aggravating.
And then this does not make sense logically speaking. Like in real life, you wouldn't set it like this. You mean? Because like I like
game speaking, like not real life. Obviously, it's a fucking game.
Yeah.
If we want to talk about logical thing, like why can't they implement like a survival thing to it? Like you're already gathering water and canned food and energy, and it's cold, and you're grabbing like fucking clothes, right? Why not make the clothes like make a difference other than just your appearance? Like the better jacket protects you better from the cold.
I guess so, but.
And then like the mushy in the snow and stuff. Yeah, but anyways.
Yeah, people who really like to min-max would go insane. They would become like OCD video game people. Like, no, I must find the jacket. The jacket.
No, like when during the beta, my friend was well, even during the open game, 2 of my friends are obsessed with a particular clothing item and just hunting for it.
I'm one of them.
Even though they don't do anything.
I guess so. It's just because you're having the option of, it's every time it's always weird. People grab towards different things when it comes to video games and stuff like that. Like some people, once again, really want all the clothing in the game. Some people, like yourself, was like, I want to get all the collectibles, which I'll do eventually. So that's just that. And the fact that they have these many options for people to necessarily work for when it comes to, collectibles, weapons, me, what my high skill and everything like that. But I guess when you're talking about the repetitive, like in all honesty, every game is like that. There's not like the only way to
every game.
Well, do you have an example of a game that doesn't?
That's like this? Not
well,
really.
Well, no, just a game in general that's not like you yourself would classify as not repetitive.
Oh shit. Off the top of my head right now, no. Because I'm multitasking. I'm not good at that. But like, I mean, that's the whole reason I didn't do WoW, because it's not as bad as WoW, because it was to the point where it's like, go grab like 10 of boar's heads or what the fuck ever, and it's a rare drop, so it takes you like 5 hours to get everything you need, and then you move on the same exact mission. You're just going for something different. How is that fun?
I guess I understand,
but
like
you just describe video games in general. Like you build around a story around a mechanic, and then you kind of repeat. You know what I mean? So I don't know. That is interesting though, because what are the things that make it diverse? What makes it different? Oh my God.
See, you guys play these type of games, and I don't.
Well, I'm not saying,
find the repetitiveness in
I'm not saying
this.
like Quinn, if you need to compare this to, a game that you played a lot that's not like this,
right.
Like, I don't care if it's like an RPG or a board game, go for it to help, describe your point.
Well, okay, if we're going to talk board game, let's talk about Betrayal and how it's different every single time you play it. I mean, the mission's always the same. Like, you're trying to... If you're the bad guy, you're trying to win. If you're the good guy, you're trying to kill the bad guy. That's the basics of any game. Board, cards, or what... Well, not cards.
Did you cut out or did you stop?
I stopped.
Okay.
Oh.
I lost my train of thought.
I was like, that was really abrupt. What happened?
Yeah, I guess I'm just not understanding, because like I figured all games are going to be repetitive. It's just how different they make it. I mean, with Fire Emblem, it's always kill everyone, but the layout and everything is usually what's different. And necessarily the Division, it's pretty much the same mission, but the layout of it would be different. They'll make it harder, by placing it in different areas and having different enemies to where you may have to change up your setup. But I can understand it being repetitive because there's not necessarily very few, but I can name, you know, all the encounters you'll get. You know, there's find the virus, defend the supplies, gather supplies. You know, there's beat a boss for security, defend, protect. Like, there's only like a handful of those that are, you know, spread out through the game. I guess I already have this
RPG
one.
life.
Pretty much.
Okay, so comparing it to a game, I would say, okay, right, because Legend of Zelda, my favorite game, right? So there's always a temple, there's always some sort of puzzle you have to solve, and then there's a boss, and it usually goes by the rule of threes, and there's a very obvious weak point, and it's usually whatever you gathered in that temple or whatever is how you defeat it. So it's technically the same thing every time.
Yeah, and
Except the storyline's really fucking good.
That was one of the things I didn't like about, like, honestly, games like that where beating the boss is way easy. Like, it's way easy, and, like, beating the boss is really easy to figure out. You know what I mean? Like, oh,
Sometimes.
he has an eye that pops out, and I just got a bow. I wonder what I have to do here. But what were some things you didn't like about the game, Alex?
I don't know that I would say that there's anything that I dislike. Well, I'm weird. So the stuff that I dislike is like technical stuff. Like, I don't like that if I go up to a person and look at them, instead of going to like inspect them in the game, like say Destiny, you hover over somebody, you hit a triangle, you see all their gear.
That's
like,
one thing that I hope they
why
add.
are you taking me to the damn person's PlayStation profile? Like, I know you can do it, but it seems like more effort at this point. I really, actually, this is the number one thing I dislike, actually. It bothers me that when I go into New York and I'm playing this game that I know is kind of MMO-y, that there's no people in the world until I go in a safe house. That really bugs me. I don't know why. It bothers me that there are not other players in the world, and I can see my friends on the map. I know where Maurice is right now in the game, but I can't walk to where he is and see him in the game. That drives me nuts.
I guess the reason why they did that is just so it's not like Elder Scrolls, to where, let's say if you're trying to do a side mission or an encounter, you have to wait until it resets because another team just did it.
Well, no, I get that, but even if you're looking at like, what's it called, like a Destiny or a WoW or whatever, like if I'm running around in the wilderness, there's still people running around in the wilderness that I can wave at. Like, that was one of the things, like, that's the thing that I miss is those spontaneous encounters with people where we would play Destiny on the Cosmodrome and me and two other dudes that I don't even know are sitting here and a public event happened and now we're just dumping on it together. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know these people.
I guess
so I kind of miss them being in the world.
I guess so. I guess because like I kind of like me personally, I like both ways. I like how, you know, if I go to an encounter, I don't have to worry about being on cooldown or, you know, anything like that. Like, it's gonna go there, it's gonna start. But at the same time, I do understand, you know, not having, you know, that whole people, you know, they're waiting, and I am the whole waiting and, you know, getting random people and just dumping on, you know, public events or bosses and stuff like that. So I think those are one of the things that honestly would have worked both ways for either game. But I can understand that.
Yeah, I don't necessarily understand why your world, like the main New York map, is instanced. That seems weird.
But what else did you not like?
What else? I need a vehicle.
The
Like,
AIs.
fast travel would be damned. I need a vehicle, man. Like, give me a little motorcycle or something. This running is for the birds.
I guess I can
for real.
understand that, a faster way to travel, which is why I like the security one, where you can 30% more movement speed. But usually what I did to cure that is, like, one of the things I did was find every safe house. So that helps me save a lot of time. You know, if I want to do an event or anything like that, you can travel to the safe house. You can also travel to missions, and then that helps you get around too.
Yeah, but that only remedies the problem late game, right?
Yep.
Like once you have all of them. Because what I'm finding right now, let's see, where am I? Because I'm gonna get shot while I'm in this
But like even with
Right
fast travel, some of the spots are still really far away, and you're 3 or 4 minutes.
I guess so, but like,
Yeah,
there's
just
no.
running.
I mean, like, when it comes to like, yeah, I can understand that because I know there's one of the encounters that's like really far from the safe house that, you know, takes like a minute, not even like a minute or two, but it does take a while to get from that to the actual encounter itself, especially when you're out there in the encounter and you die, and you naturally respawn at the safe house, which in the DZ makes sense to not be able to revive a teammate, but I guess it's pretty cool that on the outside that, you know, even when you're out and you're not down, that you can be revived. But I can understand that, some type of way of fast traveling, even if it's something where I forgot what game it was, but in order to summon a vehicle or something like that, first of all, to summon a vehicle took a while to do. It was something, it took like, you know, a few seconds to actually get it out, and then when you were on the vehicle, you couldn't. What is it saying, room for? But you couldn't do anything when on the bike, on the vehicle. You couldn't shoot. You couldn't, you know, activate your abilities or anything like that. And then when you get off, it takes a while to get off too. So I guess that's something they can implement some way, and maybe just disable it for DZ, or if they just made it to where if you're in the vehicle, you people in the area could, you know, see you on the map or something like that. So that way, it's not something that people can abuse. But you know, that's just some ideas to remedy that situation.
Yeah.
Anything else you didn't like?
I need a motorcycle. I don't. We can come back to me in a second because I think
All right.
I'm good, but I'm thinking.
No problem. And Thrax, what is some things you didn't like?
I'm sort of on the same page as Alex. Like nothing I like truly like dislike about the game. Nothing that's like main sort of thing. Just kind of like small kind of details ish. Like I like the missions. So like the only type of mission I don't like is again like when Quinn mentioned when we have to pick up the stupid suitcases where you walk like a snail and to walk like blocks and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah, I guess I could.
Which is like a slow ass walk back.
Yeah, one of the things I don't like about that is even when I use a movement security to move 30% more faster, it's completely disabled. Like it's on. I have my perk is activated, but I'm still moving the same exact speed. But it's whatever because I guess there's just not enough in the world for it to be that bothersome for me. But what else?
Yeah. I'm trying to think here. Maybe like maybe something to do with kind of like the movement, because you know when like if you sometimes get stuck on something, you kind of have to really like turn your character to like get around it. Sometimes if you get kind of awkwardly stuck on a
I see, like a pole or something like that.
Like a pole, like you have to really like turn your character like 90 degrees to kind of get around it. You can't just kind of slowly like turn your control stick to slowly go around it. You have to actually kind of like turn your character to kind of go around it. It's kind of something that may
Problems with controllers.
Yeah.
But this
Sorry, I
is
don't
kind
mean
of
to
a general movement.
PC Master Race you guys.
What else?
Oh. Sorry.
Otherwise, nothing else really truly like throws me like off or anything about the game. That I can think of.
The same thing with me is that the things that I don't like are just necessarily little nitpicks and stuff like that. Like in your base, you can get a shooting range, and I thought like when you got the shooting range, yes, you can shoot your weapons, you know, and like try them out in your base and everything like that. But one of the things I thought you would gain is that if you get the shooting range, you can go to a weapon in the store and then try it out.
That would be nice. That'd be really fun.
Yeah, that'd be good.
So that was one of the things I was just like, oh, that's kind of disappointing. Another thing that I didn't like is I kind of don't like how they reworked the DZ ranking. Well, not DZ ranking, but the purchasing. Because right now I have, once again, 25 DZ, and I've literally not purchased anything in a DZ just because I'm not able to buy anything. Because like in the beta, there would be different things for each level. Like, it would randomly refresh to a random item, at that rank that you, of course, had to have the DZ level to do. So I can go in there, buy a DZ 8 weapon, buy a DZ 10 weapon, and so on as I progress higher in the DZ. Here, it's I believe it's set for 10, 15, 24, 30, 50 is the highest I've seen. Which was just one thing that I don't like, because once again, I've been here for a while in the DZ and I've not purchased anything outside maybe a few not equipment, but a few mods.
Worth it. Sorry.
Wait, when did you see level rank 10 and 15 in the DZ?
10.
I've only seen like it's ever rank 30.
I want to say I've seen 15 like once. It could have just been a visual glitch because I wasn't able to buy it. I was under it, so it could have been just a glitch and it just shows 15, or 10 and 15. 15 15 I don't have any. I didn't see myself. It was something someone else said, which is probably once again just another very rare visual glitch because you, me, and Thrax have not seen it before, so I'm sure that's just a visual glitch. And this was also before the maintenance. That was recent, so once again that could have been just a visual glitch, but I don't like how I can't go into DZ and be like, alright, cool, I'm gonna go shop for weapons until once again I'm level 30.
And by then it probably doesn't even matter.
You'll still be good though. Like there's some good weapons in there that are better than mine that I just can't purchase.
I still have yet to see one that's better than.
Well, you also crafted yours, and I believe yours is also high end.
My primary is crafted, and yes, it is high end. My marksman rifle is not crafted.
But I'm just saying, like, comparing purple to purple, but I'm sure it's like, because it sounds like, or at least one of the things, another thing I like about the game is that when it comes to weapons and how powerful they are, weapons that you find in the game or weapons or you craft, or with the crafting weapons being the most strongest, because one, you can craft it and you can keep re-rolling to get, better perks, better stats, better abilities and everything like that, which is one of the things I like. So if, someone has, a really good shotgun or whatever for PvE or PvP, it's something that they literally got off luck by just re-rolling it, re-rolling their perks and everything like that, which is one thing I like about this game, versus actually, Destiny or anything like that, where you just keep doing a certain mission or whatever, or you keep doing, this and, hoping to get a different mod for the same weapon. It's not something, I can go in there and, play, like, let's say there's only a weapon that drops for PvP. I can go and, Destiny and play 20 matches to try to get a different mod for the same shotgun I have and not get it. While in in Division, alright, cool, I just need these weapon parts and these tools, which I know how to get. I know how much I need, and then I can, craft 10 in like a minute because I have all the parts for it and hopefully get, what I'm looking for.
That's true, but Destiny rerolling in Destiny went away because it was breaking the game. Like, it was breaking the Crucible.
Yeah.
So,
that's understandable. Like the Division.
However, come on. I think we have a bigger pass on this one. You know what I mean? Because I love it for armor. But I think we'll get away with it a little bit more in this. Oh, I'm gonna die.
Well,
sorry.
In here there are some perks, like I guess here in Division, the only thing you really have to worry about is some perks being broken, because technically any weapon can have any perk, but so the only real thing you really have to worry about, because yes, every weapon can have every perk. It's just depending on what tier they are. It depends on how strong it is. Like, you can't get a high end perk Because there's like 50% cooldown on whatever when you kill, and it'll be 50% cooldown on like a green weapon. Which is one thing I also like about the game, is that high-end weapons perks are better. But in the Division, when you actually nerf something, you're necessarily just nerfing a perk and not the weapon itself. Because one of the weapons that were just recently nerfed in the 15-minute patch was a weapon to where if you got a critical hit on someone, it would reduce your signature skill by 5%, and it was a submachine gun. And then you can also mod it to where you can, get more critical. You can make, I think you can, if you have a good modification, you can make it 100% to where literally every time you shot was a critical bullet, a critical hit, and 5% off your signature move. And of course, if you can aim, you can kind of see just how ridiculous that is on how you're able to use your signature move multiple times in mere minutes. So the gun itself is still usable. The gun itself, you can still use. It's just, the perk itself was reduced, which is one of the things I like about the game, is that you can have a really good weapon that you worked on, and then instead of them nerfing the weapon altogether, they just nerf a perk.
Final round.
We're gonna go ahead.
Thrax will get that.
So if you remember,
you said
what's up?
We're on what stuff we don't like right now.
Yes.
These snipers need to hit harder. Like I'm tired of sniping people 3 times in the face. Like that is driving me insane. Especially if they're below my level.
Especially if the in-game snipers can take you down in like a or two.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand it. At least with a sniper rifle, I know it. Assault rifles and everything like that, it makes more sense. But I guess what they probably could add is like, because most of the time it's just because of their armor. Like once their armor's gone, 2 shots and they're dead. One, if you can get a headshot sometimes, depending on your builds and everything like that. But if they made a way to where, like, the armor penetration would be nice, if there was some way to do that. Because naturally, it's just their armor. That's ridiculous. But
there are armor penetration perks.
I guess it'd be nice to get it on like a sniper. Like it's one of its abilities that you need a modification for. But I can understand that. But if you remember any other things you don't like or like about the game, let me know, and then we can talk about it. But moving,
does it count with the guys with shotguns that run at you full blast?
Oh, fuck those guys!
Like,
they're almost one shots.
I know.
Depending on who they are.
it is a shotgun though.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're slightly OP.
Well, see, I can't.
There's
a guy that's the same level as me. I can't one-shot him with a shotgun, and I only carry great weapons, and I have high DPS.
I guess that makes sense. But if they made it to where you did one-shot one enemies, I think the game would be relatively just too easy. Like, hey, I got a headshot him, you should die, or 2. Then it would be relatively easy. Because once again, I have a marksman rifle with a pretty high rate of fire, where almost every time I pull the trigger, it shoots. It'd be, I guess it would just make it too easy.
Have lower impact and a higher rate of fire, like that's fine. But if I have this thing that I'm using right now that hits like a truck, but takes 50,000 seconds to fire again, I need the dude to die off a headshot, man. Like, you gotta go away now.
I guess so. I guess I can understand it, because I did have a sniper rifle that I ended up ditching just because it took too long to shoot after, it had a low fire rate. Also, another thing I did like about this game is it's the mods and the modifications and everything like that, and the equipment you can add to it. One, I love how it visually changes. Like, I can see my weapons mods on it. I can see the camo and everything like that. And, I do love how you can really change how a weapon performs based off its mods. Like you can, make them, increase its accuracy and everything like that, stable, its critical hit and everything like that. And that's one of the things I did like about the game. I just now remember one of the things I hate is I hate comparing weapons to other weapons. Because one of the things I wish you can do is when you compare a weapon, you compare it off its base and not by what's equipped on it. So if I find a weapon and I want to compare it to, like if I find a sniper and I want to compare it to a sniper I already have, to accurately compare it outside of its abilities and everything like that, I have to take off all the mods off my current sniper so I can compare the base, the two snipers at its base. Because of course, a weapon that I have mod is going to be better than a weapon that's not modded.
Yeah, I agree with that. I saw one of those where one of the top posts Division subreddit. I definitely think they do need some sort of comparison where, without mods, that's a must.
Yeah.
Wait, did you bring up the fact that when you go to like the gear vendor and shit, like you can't compare the current like?
No, you can compare it, but I'm saying comparing the base weapon with the base weapon in the store, because when you compare, it's going to compare what your weapon is currently equipped with, which is mods, and obviously the weapon with mods is going to be, better than the weapon in the store. But sometimes I want to compare base weapons with each other. But if you
can we talk about the terrible AIs though?
Well, if that's something.
What?
I mean, like the people walking the street and how like you're running past. Why are you so angry at me? And if you like run up to somebody that needs help, they could potentially run away because you ran up to them.
Oh yeah, the choice of that is really weird.
Yeah, like you can bump into them and then run off, which I guess so. But moving on, if you think of anything else you like or don't like, don't be scared. But do you see yourself playing this game a week from now?
Oh, I'm so angry
Alex.
right now.
Why skip? Sorry, Quinn. Do you see yourself playing this game a week from now?
Fuck you. Honestly, yes. Just because we're just about to get one of my friends up to level 30, and no, because I'm gonna be busy with school.
Well, other than like if you could play let's take the element of life and like other friends, I guess the element of life. I mean, like if you wanted to play this game all week next week, would you?
Yes. And heartbeat.
And then what about you, Alex?
Next week, yes.
And then Thrax?
For sure, 100%.
Yeah. Because obviously because one, if it's a new game, and we naturally haven't done anything, but two, me, Thrax, and Quinn kind of naturally reached the end game of the continent, end game. And then there's tons of end game, but the end game of the current without. But we necessarily haven't done all of it. Once again, you can get your DZ rank up to at least. I know I've seen 50, but I've heard you can go to 120, and I haven't really looked that up for your DZ rank.
Yeah, I heard.
But there's also the challenging missions that you can do where you play it. Where you have to have a full squad at level 30, and doing those missions. Where they're ridiculously hard. There's obviously, things you can purchase that are outside of your DZ rank and everything like that. So not even just because it's a new game and it's fun to play, but there's also content that we haven't actually gotten to just because of just how much they put into it and how much there is to do. Like I once again have side missions, collectibles, and everything like that. But after that week, can you see yourself playing this game a month from now? Excluding DLC, like let's just say there's no DLC coming, which we'll talk about DLC later, but let's say there's no DLC coming. Can you see yourself playing this a month from now, Quinn?
Well, I mean, that's complicated because, like, okay, essentially Siege is always the same thing, and yet I keep playing it and I keep getting like I'm 128 hours into Siege, and it's the same thing over. So there's potential, but then again, like the dailies in this, it's like the same mission over and over, and like I get fed up with that.
Understandable.
I don't know. Maybe yes. I don't know. It depends on if my friends ask me to.
Okay, understandable. What about you, Alex?
Infrequently. A month from now, I'll probably be playing this the way that I play Destiny now. Meaning,
Probably.
if there's a specific thing that's happening that I want to do, a la like trials, or I just want to run the raid this week, or something like that, then okay, I'll probably jump in. But the way that I feel about this game as I'm playing it, and it sucks to me considering how excited that I was to play it initially, is this game to me is Fallout without the Fallout personality mixed with Destiny.
Could
And
you
that bothers
explain a little bit?
Okay, so we've got like the dystopian future of us running around like helping people and stuff like that, but it doesn't have that humor to it really. Like, remember I told you should do a video of all the people at the safe houses that all have their little weird personality quirks, like the dude I just ran into that takes everything literally. So he always has to like qualify everything he says. Those things are interesting, but I don't feel like you get that interest in the world. Like, I don't go to a specific area of the city and there's like when you go to Hell's Kitchen, there's no like Daredevil Easter egg that I've found or anything quirky about the world. It's just
Another
sad
location in the
dystopian
in
New York. Yeah. So,
And I think part of the
really
no
like
Easter
the
egg
world.
things is they shoved it off. Sorry.
What do you mean by shove
They
them
did
off?
what?
Like,
Shoved it out, like got it out as fast as possible. Because like Siege wasn't even out that long before they're like, yeah, Division's coming up.
Aren't they different studios though?
I believe so. Yes. I'd have to
They're
look
both
into that.
Ubisoft.
True.
Yeah, but there's like Ubisoft Montreal, Ubisoft
Yeah.
like in
Ubisoft,
France
massive
or somewhere.
division.
Like, they're completely different studios. You got to think about it. This game was announced at the same E3 that Destiny was. Like, Siege wasn't even, as far as we know, in development yet. Like this, Wildlands, and something else, but like the same team doesn't build this and Assassin's Creed.
More or less, but yeah. So what about
I want a
you?
little bit more personality from the game.
I guess I can
Give it to
understand
me.
that. Because there's no.
Sorry, I'm walking around.
Unfortunately, there's no like characters to just characters in general, either in the world, the outside the fractions. Because I really do love the cleaners and like their whole story of just fuck it, just set it on fire. But outside that, there's no real unique characters itself, unfortunately, in the story. And other than the guy who caused the virus, I liked him. I thought he was pretty unique. And
What about Keener?
but what about you, Thrax? Can you see yourself playing this game in a month?
Wait, you didn't answer her question.
Wait, what was the question?
What about Keener? I don't know who that is.
That's because you haven't
What
gotten
about
that far in the story. Spoilers.
Oh,
Spoilers.
I can't remember who he is. Unfortunately,
That's totally demonic of you.
Yeah, I don't want to ruin it for
Well-
Alex if
well-
he's into the story.
Understandable. Well, one, I'm bad with names, so I probably do know who it is. I just don't
Right.
have the name attached to him because even the people I do like, I don't even have the outside the cleaners. Like the guy who caused the virus and everything like that. I don't remember his name just because I'm bad with
I don't
names.
remember his name
Amherst.
either.
I
But
just came from his apartment. That's the only reason I remember him.
Amherst. His name is Amherst. Yeah,
What?
that's in Hell's Kitchen.
Mhm.
what
Sorry,
about
I
you?
should've known
What about you, Thrax? Can you see yourself playing this game in a month?
Yeah, I think I probably will be playing it in a month. Probably again to do like for the dailies and kind of stuff like that. But I'm still probably gonna go through like Dark Zone with like friends once everybody's caught up to level 30 because it's going to take like, I know there's a lot of people, my friends are playing right now, they're still pretty low level, like under 20 or so. So
Yeah, no, taking your time.
Yeah, they're taking their time, which is great. But like once they get to 30, then they'll have like new people to play with, and then like
Get party up with
kind of
mics.
more- exactly, like play with more familiar people than they're with like some of my clan mates and stuff, and that'll be more fun, I think. So like right now, there's only like a select few of us that are 30.
Yeah.
I know that are playing, so I think, yeah, especially as the month goes on, there'll be even more people playing, I think, especially if they keep playing and get to 30. So I probably will still play. Yeah.
So I could see myself playing this game in a month, mainly because of all the content just in DZ. Because I'm really curious on what the fuck you can buy at level 120, if that's right. DZ rank, like, what are you buying? Like, what do you got? What are you buying at that range? Like, why is their DZ rank that high? But I'm also, once again, DZ because as more people, because I was reading in that a lot of people aren't really comfortable with going in DZ, which is why it's not necessarily populated. Which another thing they probably could do is just increase the server range, because right now only 24 players are allowed to be in DZ, and at any given time. So it could be something where they increase it to 40, or 50 or whatever to help populate the DZ. Maybe just 30 or 40. But I can definitely see myself playing this game in a month. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to perks, skills, weapon mods, and how you feel about them. We kind of did go over this, or at least I did, with the skills that I did like, the skills that I don't like, how I like the weapon mods, and how you can customize them and change them and really personalize your weapons and everything like that. The only real bad thing I don't like about necessarily the talents, or not the I believe it's the talents. Yeah, the talents. Those are the talents are the only thing where I don't feel like they're all useful. Like, I feel like some of them probably never get used, because like suppressing enemies, I don't know. So I guess some of them probably need to be buffed. But how do you feel about necessarily the perk, skills, and weapons and everything, Quinn?
No comments.
That was the greatest answer ever. I love it.
So, what about you then, Alex?
I like that the perks you just get immediately. Not immediately. I love that you basically just get all the perks.
Yeah.
Like, all those things are active on your character as soon as you unlock them, and that's cool. What I'm struggling with right now is I don't feel like they're all explained enough to where I should know which order to take them in as I'm leveling. Like, what's going to be super important to me. And I'm kind of frustrated by the fact that I'm at 15 and I don't have the third one yet.
I guess so.
But
So when you mean,
that's my fault because I'm playing solo.
So what do you mean by they don't accurately describe? Are you talking about like what the perks does, or like
the talents? Sorry.
Yeah, with
Like
the talents.
Perks, I feel are fine because you're
Sorry.
gonna be using them no matter
Yeah.
what. But with the talents, I don't know. Hold on. Like, applying a burn to any target triggers 30% chance to apply affect all targets. I get that, but when am I gonna be burning people? Like, I don't
With
know
incendiary
those
bullets.
circumstances yet. Right, exactly. But like, that's what I'm saying is how frequently am I gonna use that? I feel like there are certain things that are just way more
useful,
and I guess they're gonna be because there's so many. But some of them are really, really situational. And
Yeah,
I don't get my next slot until 25.
Oh shit! I just
I guess
killed it.
that's probably why I don't like them. Is that some of them if you're going to use it, you're only going to use it for one or two things. So I don't know how they can necessarily fix that without necessarily removing and adding certain perks. Because once
Why
again,
can't I just talk to NPCs.
because with the talents, I mean, because that's one thing that I do understand, like suppressing, well, not suppressing, because I know what those do. I just don't ever really use it. Like applying a burn to a target triggers a 30% like. And if anything, is that to all like anything, anytime you burn them? Because I believe, like, if you burn an enemy, if your turn burns an enemy, and there's another enemy that's out of range, does that also apply too? But that's once again one of the things that when people get bored, they'll go ahead and experiment and whatnot.
Yeah, we're gonna get Dado videos soon, I'm sure. Little sports science version of video game science or whatever. We're probably gonna start getting those at some point here.
Yeah, that's something I was thinking about doing myself.
I try to give you some hints, man.
No, it's just the only problem is that I need another person to experiment one on, and we have to do it in DZ. So there's that.
Lies. No point.
But what about you, Thrax? What do you feel about Quinnasinn? Because I guess this is the talent part where you talk about the talents and the how do you like them or don't like them?
I kind of agree with what Alex said about some of them. Some of the talents, especially the ones where it's like the ones under like tech, for example, where you kill a hostile with an explosion, increase explosion damage. So unless you're like gonna start chucking like all 4 grenades instantly, then there's no real use to that. Or if you shoot your sticky bomb once, that's only one use.
See, now that
cooldown.
Now that I could argue, what I do for that, because it's you kill an enemy with your explosive, and your next explosive does 40% more damage, and then there's one where if you like do explosion damage to a group, it increases the damage. The one where it increases the group, I don't know if it's bugged or what. I'm not entirely sure about that, but the one where you do more explosion, if you go for a purely DPS role like me, where you're using the sticky bomb, and then you're using the remote, I can't even remember what it's called, the remote ball thing. You can have your remote ball kill an enemy, it'll trigger that effect, and then you can do your sticky bomb to once again stack it, or a grenade, which I use frequently when I'm finding these enemies that are lower level, where they're not going to be doing as much damage, and I don't really have to concern about healing, and I can just use med packs, and then where I'm just going pure DPS. I love it. So I guess that was just me explaining that one.
Right. So yeah, then I guess it does make sense, but you still have to be like, okay, then if I'm going to use that talent, then
yeah, that's a talent.
All times. Sticky bomb plus the little,
yeah,
plus the roller mine. So.
Otherwise, I love walking really slow and shooting these dudes while carrying a dumbass case.
Wait. Here's my question. In the beta on Dark Zone, this is like completely off topic. How come, like in the beta, you could randomly heal people, but now in like the actual game in the Dark Zone, you can't heal people anymore? You have to be in a group to be able to heal them.
I think it was made to the diverse. It was made to the diverse, like who's in a group, who's not in a group, and everything like that. Just like.
But you can't shoot the people.
Like I don't know.
Not in your group.
Because I haven't really noticed, because I haven't really attempted to heal other people, because it's like fuck them, they're not with me. Only on rare occasions where, like when we're both trying to kill an NPC, like at least for me, I've healed them, because I'll put my support station down and they'll get the benefit of it. So I don't know what's up with that.
I think it just helps, like, if you're trying to, like, maybe you don't, maybe it's just me and I just end up on servers who don't speak good English, or English at all. Like, if you accidentally go rogue, you can, like, shoot a healing thing and be like, hey, I'm friendly. Or, like, somebody's dying as you run past because they're fighting NPCs, and you can randomly heal them as you're running by, but not have to be in the same group. Because I don't like grouping up with people I don't know. But I don't mind helping a random person if we're fighting the same NPCs.
Understandable, I guess. And it could be a bug.
I'm glitch your turrets
What's up?
Can people still glitch your turrets and make them shoot at them? To make
No.
Oh, I haven't tried that.
They made it a lot harder to actually do that, because there was this one time where I thought I was gonna go rogue, and I put my turret and had the flamethrower on, and a guy literally ran through the fire. I may have to like rewatch the video to see just how much he did it, but he didn't go rogue. I didn't go rogue, and I didn't even get the marker where, you know, when you shoot someone. So I would have to look into that. But I want to say but they definitely made it a lot harder for the turret to, you know, make you go rogue, which is definitely a plus, because you can actually still use it in the dark zone and have to at least worry a little bit less about it.
Get off me. Get off me. Sorry. There was a dude with a bat. He was hitting
So moving on to the
Oh
last
god,
topic.
no.
Hmm?
The people with the freaking bats. The golf clubs.
The melee
Oh, yeah,
characters.
Yes, they drive me nuts. Especially like I'm zooming in and I'm looking at something else and they're not even my line of vision. They're behind me, beating me in the head, and I'm dead before I can do anything. Like there have been times where I've like hit my med kit right before I got shot, and yet I died instead, getting healed.
Well, I guess
bastards.
yeah, that's just I don't know, be more alert for melee characters. The med pack, I'm not entirely sure, because also another thing I don't like about this game when it comes to healing, for the healing perk, is that when you get the mastered version, it delays when it gets healed so that people have more time to get in the healing zone. I want to take that off.
You're like, I want to heal now.
Yeah, like I can understand when you use it on yourself, it's instantly, but when you want to heal a group, it's like, all right, place it, wait a bit, and then it heals. And I wish there was that. Other than that, I wish that's about it. But with the DLC, in case you don't know, they're obviously adding more DLC through the game. The first thing they're adding is the Underground, which is the first expansion, once again called Underground. Lets a squad of 4 explore new territory in a post-economic New York City underworld. They have Survival, and the second expansion called Survival. Players will try to survive in a hostile environment that will challenge even the most hardest division players. I have no idea what that even means. And then they have, well, no, Survival is. Sorry, Survival, or it's either Survival or Last Stand that has the wave mechanic. But then there's the Last Stand, which is third and final expansion, and perhaps fitting the Last Stand, which is the defending. I guess I have to find more details on what the actual DLC is for it. But how do you feel about the DLC? Are you gonna naturally be coming back when they come out? Because at least with the first one, I'm not really sure what they mean by going underground, because we already go into the subways and everything like that. Like, what's underneath that? But how do you feel about the DLC, Quinn?
I am interested to figure out what it's going to be like and if it's going to improve or like boost my feelings about the game, or if it's just going to be pointless and I'm going to fucking hate it. At this point, I'm just open to anything.
Okay.
I have no comment until it actually comes out.
I guess so. And then you, Alex?
I bought a season pass, so I'm getting my $100 worth.
And then
That's
you,
the
Thrax?
Yeah, I'm interested. I'll probably get it, but I just want to know some more information as, you know, get closer to release, just to see what they really means and stuff.
Yeah, I'm trying to look for an
I'll probably get
actual-
it, but yeah.
Because I know they posted a video about it where they went over, like, they're actually adding trading from inside a group. So if you're in a group and you guys both finish, you know, like a really hard mission, everything like that, everyone gets different loot, you're able to trade. I believe you'll be able to, like, they didn't describe how to, but there's going to be a mechanic where you can trade within what you guys just got. So instead of, like, let's say if you're doing DZ and I'm a sniper, and, you know, let's just say I'm playing, you know, I'm playing with you, Thrax, and let's say if you want an assault rifle, if I get an assault rifle and you get a sniper rifle, they say there's going to be a mechanic of us trading. Not sure how, if there's like a time limit, or if you're just able to freely trade who's in your party or whatever. But once again, they're adding trading. What I'm looking to see,
Sure.
because they have something. They have in April their incursions. They have May the conflict. June is the underground expansion. It's summer. Survival is in the summer, and then the winter is the last stand. And then the incursion and the conflict are free, which is pretty cool. So there's necessarily the free content, but they're of course adding more weapons. They're adding. One of the things I was hoping they would do is they would add more not necessarily abilities, but more skills. If they did like another skill tree, I'm not sure how that would work. Or what it would be called, but me and my friends were going over it. Like, let's say if one of the skills was you get a flamethrower instead of like a sticky bomb or anything like that, you get a flamethrower, and then like the modification would be maybe, the first one's just of course the base. The second one would be like more fire damage, or not necessarily more fire damage, but like a longer range. The third one could be like a shorter range but a wider radius. Maybe even change it up and have it do like something else, like maybe you have a flamethrower that shoots like static or smoke, and it doesn't do any damage, but it's able to desort enemies and stuff like that. So I'm hoping, one of the things I was hoping is that they add another skill tree, which once again would be really cool, because I just want a flamethrower. I think just go around burning motherfuckers.
That'd be pretty cool.
About rocket launchers.
Yeah, that was
Just
another
kidding.
thing too. Well, it depends on how they do it.
You degenerate.
Because if they do it like the game, where you can see where it's gonna hit, so at least because the only time I can see that being abusive is in PvP with people having rocket launchers. But if they made it to where you can see where it's going to hit, so there's that that short travel time depending on how far you are, you can tell like, okay, I need to get out of this area now because I'm gonna get hit. But I guess I didn't have it on here. But the final thing is, what are things that you would want them to add to the Division, of any wise, weapons, skills, story, the dark zone, just anything and all that you would like to see them add to the game, Quinn?
Story-wise, I want...
Or it could be
without
just anything.
spoiling it, I'm like going down the line story-wise,
Okay.
without spoiling anything. I definitely already have high hopes, and I don't know how else to say it. Like hopes for continuing that storyline that you saw at the very last cutscene.
I guess because necessarily what they explained in the Division is the events. Then of course the events that unfold after everything went to hell and how the virus started and everything like that. But I guess my question is what more story would you want? Like, let's say, hey, I want to see more of this character. I want to see his story. Like, I can understand, hey, I want to see maybe if there is, a story mission where you played as, a flashback and you played on, the day of the event of everything going to hell. Something
Being
like
Alex
that.
Keener. That'd be cool. If they did a flashback, I would want to be Alex Keener and see everything that went down.
But anything else you would want them to add?
Obviously, trading.
Yeah, trading would be nice. And
I know there's other things, but
I'm sure you'll think of them.
I'm fighting cleaners right now.
No problem. Alex, what are some things you would wish for them to add?
I want them to make New York bigger.
So just more
I'm just telling you
larger
that
map.
right now. I want.
I
I
assumed they
wanna
were
go
going
where
to make it bigger.
Jay-Z's from.
Yeah, true. I'm sorry. What was that other thing you said?
I want to go to Marcy.
So you
Go
just
to projects, bro. I'm just saying.
that was
all these
another
places
thing.
that I heard about in random rap songs.
There was another thing that me and my friend were talking about of them adding, not even just in the game itself, in the game itself, not necessarily has to be DLC. If they made it to where enemies would necessarily ambush you, just add that element to the game to where, you know, at any given time when you're running down the street, enemies will literally like set up an ambush, and let's say if you're, you know, walking down the street and there's no alleyways or anything like that, they would appear at the end of both streets and actually come after you, just to add that element to the game. I think that would be cool, because one of the things they did add to the DZ is they added enemies. They added more enemies, but they also did is they added enemies that patrol and know like patrol a short block or two, which is pretty cool, because once again you can be going to a location and then there's a group of enemies that you weren't expecting to be there are there.
I can live with that, because I was originally going to say that this world isn't populated enough, but then I got in like a 5-block long walking gunfight, so now I'm more cool with that. But yeah, that would be nice. If I don't want to say if the AI was smarter, but if it felt a little bit more like, I don't know, the Rikers dudes were setting you up or something, that would be kind of cool.
True. Like, one of the things I was hoping they would add, which or like something they could add, like in not only random events, like pretty much random events that aren't encounters, because one of the things like in Red Dead Redemption, there pretty much are encounters, but you know, when people will randomly come up to you for help or something like that, if that was like a setup or if led to some, you know, random thing, like let's say a person would randomly come up to you, you know, like when, you know, like when they give you give them like an item and they'll give you like clothes or whatever. If instead, you know, something else, they would come up to you and just say, hey, yo, there's a group of enemies here, and then they got my brother or whatever. Or if it was like a complete setup, a civilian would come up to you, you would give them like an item, and as soon as you do that, a bunch of people would come up and attack you. Or if you know, you can give him, you know, like a bullet or, you know, a incendiary bullet, and he would equip it and then shoot you with it or try to kill you, or, you know, something like that. That necessarily weren't encounters that were on the map. They were literally just random events that would happen at random times.
To that effect, it would be cool if some of these, I don't know, security wing missions, the ones that we were talking about being repetitive earlier, it would be kind of cool if they changed the environment around you, like let's say like Arkham Asylum, or the way the major missions in this do, right? Like you turn on the electric grid and then you see that Times Square has more lights in it now and stuff like that, or the civilians feel a little bit safer walking around or something. Like that would be cool, because I feel like we're doing these little things. Like I just saved some JT.
You don't seem like you're
JTF
really
officer.
changing the world.
I don't feel like it right now. Like I just saved some JTF officer, but I don't know who the hell he is. You know,
True.
Like, why is he important? And more specifically, why is he important to security? Why'd I get 60 points worth security for saving that dude? There are a lot of enemies in Chelsea. I like it. Just random dudes on the street to shoot.
But what are some other things you wanted them to add, Alex?
What else do I want to... more obvious indoor spaces. Ooh,
And rooftops.
You right there?
My friend set off a fire extinguisher.
Oh yeah,
nice.
I thought that was pretty cool. You can shoot a fire
I
extinguisher
fucking
and it'll
love
blow.
that shit. You can booby trap your friends.
Right? I love like knocking over boxes and closing car doors and all the little silly stuff.
Oh yeah, I don't know if they were like meaning to do that beforehand, making it into like
What do you
an achievement.
No,
but
okay.
because like everybody commented like during the betas about like,
No.
oh, it's the best
Actually-
dark door closing simulator.
Actually,
Because
the reason before that, the reason for that is when they were showing the very first video of The Division, one of the videos is a guy goes undercover and he walks past the door and he closes it. A lot of people made comment on it. That is like, oh, that's so cool. They were like saying like, oh, that's so realistic that they'll close the door because the door is open. Like people talked a lot about it, and one of the conferences when not one of the conferences, but one of their Twitches when they were streaming, and it was a bunch of before the game came out, or even before the first beta or something like that. It was just a bunch of the developers just talking about the Division, and then someone made a comment of like, "What's the story about the door?" or something about it, and he's like, "Oh, that's so funny," and they were talking about like how they just out of a joke. And just because of the E3 where everyone kind of exploded on the door, is that they talked about how they made it a trophy and made it an achievement literally just because everyone was kind of hyped about that. So that's the story on that. It was just purely just them just being fun and just fucking around.
Oh, you know what? That actually reminds me of something I would add. I hate to do this to the game and with the Fallout comparison again, but the radio, I need to hear the radio more often than just in the safe houses. Like those radio broadcasts, I should be able to just listen to those.
I guess so. That makes sense. Having them turn them on and off in your option menu. It would be nice if once again they add a mechanic to where people would randomly ask for help that wouldn't be marked on the map and stuff like that. So it would be like an encounter to maybe give you more like security points or more tech points, or like a chance of getting like a better blueprint or something like that you actually got to be listening to and paying attention. And then it would say like, hey, yo, there would be a person on, in this area or on this street or whatever. Can you please help them, or please go save them, or something like that? And if you're, once again paying attention, you'll know where it's at. Go there, save the person, do whatever, kill the person, and get a better chance of getting something outside better than what you would get in an encounter.
Yeah, like you could get missions off of the radio the same way you could get them from NPCs, instead of them being the stock kind of missions that we have now that are just, oh, there's a blip on the map, go to it, do this thing that you've probably done 50 times. That would be cool. Like you said, go save my sister from these dudes.
Yeah.
Damn,
So, Thrax, what about you? What would you like to have them add to the game?
Probably like a lot of stuff that we're kind of talking about like before, and also like expanding on what like Alex said with like, seeing the world change as you like do an area. Like if you did help security, maybe you would then see maybe like security post actually be built or something on like the road, something that would actually like show up and be different. Maybe more people in a certain area after you complete like medical or whatever, where it was going on. And so like kind of like, so that's like one part. Also like the dark zone again, with like how you can only buy for level 30. So maybe not like every level you can maybe buy something, but maybe every like
every 5 or 10. Yeah,
like so like level 10, maybe level 20, so it's like not just like you're just not just locked to 30. And again, with a bigger map too, that'd be really nice to explore more of New York. That'd be really cool. No matter how they did it.
Loot containers need to be more visibly obvious also.
Yeah, those used to be like way more visible during the...
There's a perk that helps you for the scanning that helps you find them, but
no, I mean just in the world. Like when they're sitting there, that flash is too subtle. Like it's... I'd spend like a bunch of time looking for them. Like, where the hell is it?
Oh, another thing I wish they did, because sometimes it's very annoying to find out if something's above you or underneath you. I wish the map had a different indicator, a better indicator of if it's above you or underneath you. Like, and I forgot what game it was. I can play so many, but in here, right? Like, I believe if there's a circle. And then if the circle's above, like, it's really hard to explain. That's one thing that's bad. But in one of the games I played, let's say if something was underneath you, it would have like a circle. Like, let's say if it's a circle for like a loot container or whatever. So let's say it's a loot container. Underneath it, it would have 3 lines that kind of like 3 lines that went smaller each one. So it would be like one long bar. Then underneath that would be a little a bar that's a little bit shorter than that, and then one that's shorter than that one. That initially indicated that, hey, this loot container is underneath you, because it's sometimes really confusing when something's above you or underneath you, and I just wish there was kind of a better indicator for that.
Agreed.
It'd be really cool if these people talked about the missions you did, but whatever.
Yeah, that'd be cool too.
Like,
Another thing.
what's up?
What do
Yeah.
you mean, like the way like Eris will say that you killed Crota afterwards or something like that? Like the
Yeah.
people on the world?
Just like in general, if you're like,
So-
like the story missions unlocked extra like dialogue for the characters. So let's say if you go to a safe house, they'll be like, oh, there's that guy who turned on the power there at that location, or if they told extra story bits as you played. I don't know.
Yeah,
Just-
based on your progression. Yeah.
So does the radio guy start standing stuff? Like, again, Fallout style?
What do you mean?
Like, I know he talks shit about the division because he's always talking about the little Objective 51 and stuff like that, and shadow governments, but does he say anything about the stuff you've been doing in the game at all?
Well, I don't think he does. I think all he does is talk shit.
Well,
Sounds
F
about
that
right.
guy. Questions the freedom for which we provide.
So I guess that's pretty much it. Unless anyone has any like final thoughts on.
It'd be nice too if like there was a way to like play with lower levels besides like having, lower levels being completely outclassed by the high level. Something where like it would show like your level. So like even if you're joining someone who's like level 10, that their enemies would still be level 10. They'd still be doing like their normal damage instead of them ramping up to like 20 plus or whatever.
I think it wraps up to whoever is the strongest on the party.
When we had a 15, a 25, and a 30, and all the enemies were spawning as
Spawning as what?
level 25.
Oh. It could be based on the party
we were
leader.
thinking it's like an average.
I
Yeah,
think it
'cause
could be based on
when I
the
was
party
like
leader.
20, I was like 22 or something, and I joined my friend who was like 11, and all the enemies were like 17, and he was getting one shot by everything. So like he was getting like there was no way for him to do absolutely anything. So I wasn't able to like play with him at all.
Yeah, I can
Ah,
understand
fuck.
Somehow enemies were still like 11 for him, and it's still like 22 whatever for me. Somehow.
that. Yeah,
So you
but
could actually, instead of like having that gap and be like, okay, I guess I can't play with them, even though there's like a 5 level gap even, or like something like that.
I guess so. But I guess that's to get other like I can understand them not having it balanced out or anything like that to get people to play with people of their levels, of their statue and everything like that. Because once again that problem is completely removed once they hit 30 or even 29 or whatever. Because then all the enemies are once again level 30 unless you do a challenging or go that deep into DD where they're 32.
Yeah, but you can't power level your friends either.
Technically, yes, you could.
Yes, you can.
They just can't
I've
do
been
anything.
doing it for days.
So I could just go in with someone higher and just kind
Sit
of chill
there.
while they kill everything?
Pretty much.
Oh.
That's
Okay.
pretty much what I'm doing right.
Any other final
My
thoughts?
friend.
No. Okay. So, last question. Really short one. Really simple one. Quinn, would you recommend this game to just not necessarily your friends or whatever, but would you just necessarily recommend the game? Do you say like, one, do you recommend this game, and two, do you like? One of the things I do is when I review, let's say a gamer or anything like that, is like, should you play this game, and if so, when? So like, an example. Unity, when it first released, and it was very buggy. I don't know how the game it is itself, so let's say if I was like, yes, this game is amazing, but you shouldn't buy it right now. You should probably wait a week or two for everything to get patched. Like Street Fighter. I think Street Fighter 5 is a great game, but not a lot of content is in the game right now. It's being added this month, so I would say, once again, wait a little bit. Or you can just say, hey, no, fuck this game. Don't buy it. Like, some games, that are bad. So, do you recommend this game? And if so, when would you suggest people to play it?
I actually get that question a lot, and I wouldn't recommend it, and I would not recommend it. It just all depends on the type of games that you like. Like, if you like games like this, I would say, yeah, get it. If you have the extra cash. If, like, you don't... Crap.
Like it's not a must buy at day one to get.
It's not a must buy. You can wait, you can take your time. It's a good game. Get it on sale, though.
What about you, Alex?
I would say if you like Mass Effect, play this. If you like Destiny for min-maxing and not for PvP, then get this. And I would say if you like Call of Duty or like Titanfall, then don't get this. Like, you just want to play like a twitchy shooter, this is not the game for you, right? But if you want to kind of get into some story, do some diving, get into some audio recordings, then you're probably going to enjoy it.
And then you, Thrax?
I would definitely recommend it. Even for people that haven't played this type of game before, I'd probably still recommend it to them, just to kind of get that feel of what this kind of game is and what these kind of shooters are, kind of these types of shooters turn into, and like why I'd like them. And I think I'd definitely recommend it to a lot of people, even if someone that's like completely never played a shooter or something, or someone that really hates shooters. I'd probably help them. This would probably be a nice like little, maybe like introduction that's not so like intensely like you're playing like again like Destiny, where you're going full on like action. This is kind of like a more almost kind of laid back kind of shooter. So it's kind of like
strategic and like laid back kind of, so to speak.
Yeah. So if there's someone that's like really onto shooters or anything, I think this would be a good game to help kind of ease you into like shooters in that kind of genre. That's my recommendation.
Maurice, finish this sentence. If this game was blank, I would be unemployed.
This game had magic. That's just any game in general. That's like one of the things I have about this game, which I'm sure you guys all heard, is that I love the gameplay and the system, that the game mechanics of it, the cover system and everything like that. It's like I wish they had an I wish there was like zombies or aliens, like either through DLC. Like if there was a DLC pack for zombies, I would love it, because I think this would be a good layout if they did like Call of Duty and like the zombies, where you have to like build a wall, or you can build up walls and stuff like that. If they had it to where you're in the building and you couldn't leave, or like you couldn't leave like the general area, so you can maybe go like outside and go to like inside another building or something like that, but you actually had to defend that building from hordes of zombies. Or if they added some type of encounters or missions where there were zombie enemies along with the standard enemies in the mix, I think that would be really cool. Like if they had it to where maybe if it's a boss or like an encounter or like a public event or something like that, where people come to a general area because there's like a giant, literally an alien that's like on the top of buildings or whatever, or in the middle of a large area, and it's 8 or 5, 8-10 people all shooting at one target. Something like that. Like if they added a skill tree that was, once again, me being a mage, or if it was magic and stuff like that. Like there was, you had a magic skill tree. Like if you had ability to throw like a fireball that set enemies on fire. Its initial impact did a little bit of damage, but it mainly, set enemies on fire. If they did something like that. But that's me once again. That's me taking the realism, so to speak, out of the game and adding like that, alien tech, magical properties, sci-fi stuff into it. So one of the things I always want, if the Division and Destiny made a game together, or a combination of those two, because I would really, really enjoy that, or Warframe or something.
If Division and Destiny had a baby,
dude, that would be dope, man. Like I would love to like throw like Nova bombs or something like that in Division. Like if they had a skill tree just for that.
The Division with Nova bombs. Oh, yeah. I could bring my hunter in this game. Oh, Lord.
Yeah, like those
Shadow
little
shot everything.
those things, stuff like that. I think that would be really cool. Because like I was talking around like in the vision groups and on Facebook and stuff like that. I'm like, hey, what if they threw zombies in it? And generally, a lot of people were depending on how they did it. A lot of people said yes, please, because I had 3 for the polls, either no, yes, or depending on like a maybe. And most of the people were like, depending on how they did it, if they did it like this, if they did it like this, if it was like, if one of the islands were just, not the whole map itself, but like a whole island was just like, that's a zombie zone. Like you go there, you only see zombies there, and that's where it's at. Like a lot of people were open for, having them add zombies and aliens and all that good stuff. And I was like, I would be down for that.
Aliens, really?
Aliens, zombies.
Like I can see the zombies, but aliens?
I can see aliens.
How about this storyline?
Well,
I was
storyline.
just about to say anything but zombies. Like no zombies. I don't.
Yeah.
It could be literally anything. It could be like
Vampires.
monster robot bunnies. Like just not zombies. We're done with the zombies.
I can understand that, which is why I was once again, if they added zombies, hopefully it's just like its own DLC part or something like that you didn't have to do. But if anyone else has any last comments on that, just for people's reference, if we're just gonna go through and just pretty much do the intro, but just the outro. If you wanted to add in like your plugins or whatever. That.
I have one last thing.
What's up?
About the game. The shooting the cleaners' tanks and them floating and them panicking and stuff. Fantastic. Just saying.
It's so satisfying.
Agreed.
And
So amazing.
the stupid grenade guys, where they have like their little grenade pouch and you can shoot it and they just blow up. Oh, I love it.
Oh, another thing I wish they changed. I love the headshot noise, but when you shoot the pouches like you guys are talking about, it shows like a yellow indicator that shows like, hey, you're shooting it. I kind of wish they had that same indicator or something like that for when you're getting headshots. Because like, I don't know. I guess because I love the sound, but I guess I just want something visual other than like the number is slightly red, or if the headshots are like entirely different color.
It's orange for... Oh, it's orange for critical. Never mind.
Also, I'm hitting this person and the numbers are blue and I don't know why.
Yeah, I was just about to ask that. What do blue numbers mean?
I think it's one of your talents or something is taking effect on that hit.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Like something that you're using is enhancing that in some way.
Yeah, I guess a visual way of showing that it's working. But now that I think about it, we don't necessarily need an outro unless, I don't know. I guess just final thoughts, I guess, so to speak. Just about the podcast and the division as a whole. If you had something to say, Quinn, or you can just say, "Hey, I'm Quinn." That's it. Buy the game.
Shenanigans.
And then Alex, if you wanna go ahead and put your plugins if you want.
You can follow me on Twitter at 2am_bachelor. You can check out the comic book at Intense Comics, Facebook.com/Intense Comics.
Which I'll link in the description.
If you want to play video games with me for some random reason, because I don't accept requests a lot, it's Sope Trio on Steam and on PlayStation and on Xbox. That's all.
And Thrax.
I guess you can follow me on Twitter. My Twitter is different from my Twitch. It's Dr. Thrax 33. DR, not like actual word doctor. And I love doing jump jacks in Division all day.
Yeah,
that's right. Need a push-up emote. But I'll
and a dance.
That's right.
But once again, my link in this links and everything like that will be in the description as standard. I suggest you should definitely try out the game. Get it from rent it from Redbox. borrow it from a friend, you know, something like that. I think this is a really good. I could really see this game going far if, you know, Ubisoft makes the right decisions and the right moves. Outside that, add magic and maybe zombies and aliens and a push-up emote. And I was gonna say something else, but I can't remember what it was. Oh, my final thought was I really love how different the cleaners and the last group as a whole are. Which I won't go into because of spoilers.
Because I'm tired of killing Alex.
Yeah, there's that. No,
Oh,
for some odd reason, NPCs, everyone.
Okay, wait. Hold up. Ubisoft, why you got a problem with me, man? Why is everybody we shoot named Alex? Why we always shooting Alex, bro?
It's only the hooligans. Like, the cleaners and the LMB have different names. Like, Daniel and Jane and Mike and...
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Why are the hooligans dudes?
but I really love the last faction because they have the ability of using all your skills outside the healing ones. I've seen them...
No, they have the healing ones.
Well, they have a healing medic. Yeah, that's right. They have the healing station. Because I believe they are able to use like half the abilities you use. Like they can use a turret, they can use a sticky, the seeker mine, they can use the station, and then that's about it. I haven't seen them use anything else like the security, or like the pulsing or anything like that. But it's really cool how they're able to use. I guess I haven't been paying attention then, but that's one of the things I like about how the factions, especially the cleaners, like the grenades they throw, like 90% of the grenades they throw are incendiary grenades, and I really like that, you know, staying true to the cleaners mindset of just setting everything on fire. But that is the podcast. I once again do want to thank you guys for listening. If you watched through, I do want to thank, you know, Quinn, Alex, and Thrax for participating and talking about the division. But that is all.